Something will break. No more of that fancy stuff.
You would think that's gonna fail before it lifts the shear.
I think it's gonna delaminate the panel.
And at the very least, it's going to be really fun.
So much fun.
Destroying things is fun. Welcome back to another episode, and in this week's episode, we are fixing our past mistakes. A few episodes ago, you saw that we had some doubts about the adhesive that we used to mount our solar panels.
We've got a problem. The step has come off. You can see the adhesive to the box has not been disturbed almost at all. There is a bonding issue here. The issue is the bond with the aluminum.
The big question that this raises is not about this bracket, and it's not about the steps. It's about our solar panels. We panicked about the solar panels.
I gotta say, I think I made a mistake here.
You should not feel insecure about the bond of your solar panels to the roof of your camper. First problem, it wasn't UV stable. We did correct that issue, but then we mounted our steps with the KÖRAPUR and they came off. So granted, they were under a lot more stress than the panels, but in general, we do not want to have any doubts about these giant solar panels up on the roof of our box.
Mostly the real question is, does it need the primer? I'm not really feeling worried about the adhesive itself, but we've seen with aluminum, they recommend using a primer. We did not have the primer. So we're gonna see if just scuffing it is gonna do the job. We're gonna do some tests today. See if this thing rips off easily, not so easily. And then if it rips off easily, we're gonna add some safeties to the roof. If not, I don't know. We're gonna think about it.
We basically recreated exactly what we did on the roof. We used the exact same process, the exact same adhesive under the same conditions. It's been drying for probably 2 to 3 weeks now. So we are going to try to rip this thing off, and we're gonna use the forklift. It's clamped down to this giant metal table, and we have this that will measure the pounds. Yeah, so we're gonna hook all this up, we're gonna test it, and at the very least, it's going to be really fun.
So much fun.
Destroying things is fun.
He's like, yeah, it is. I'm here on my day off. This is fun.
What better way to get rid of the doubt than to just test
Tear it
it?
apart.
Yeah,
Or
to
just
just
reinforce it.
tear it apart.
We got this piece adhesive to the panel, just like we did on the roof. And we're gonna see what happens.
And this is a cutout from when we did our windows.
Yeah, this is from the back window, I think. It looks like it.
Yeah, it's the biggest
So
one.
conveniently we had this to do some testing on. We actually ran out of the adhesive. This was like the end of it. So we wanted to do multiple tests different ways, but that's what we got. It's not exactly the most scientific method, but we're gonna see what happens. Clamp it down and then we'll go from there.
What do you think? Do you think that it's gonna fail immediately? You think it's gonna delaminate the panel?
I think it's gonna delaminate the panel.
Me too.
I think it's gonna come off the aluminum before the panel delaminates, but I don't know.
See,
Hard to tell.
we're putting these bars on here so that we don't just immediately tear the laminate apart. They're just to hold the deck down, like if it was a whole unit.
Oh yeah, so it rip off from the
So it doesn't just peel the three pieces apart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the idea.
It's definitely weaker than a whole.
Right, because you got a whole big composite box
Continuous
thing, right? So we're trying to, be as scientific as possible.
Saying 225. So
might be off.
It's close. Those represent 100 pounds.
Okay.
Each number. So
Okay.
1 time around is 1,000.
All right.
So maybe it's saying you can go around 5 times and 5,000.
5,000 pounds. Maybe that's the max it'll do.
We got it hooked in. We got this spreader bar basically here, so it pulls straight up on the bar and not inward. Now we gotta see if it delaminates, if it rips off the aluminum, if it lifts the table up. I don't know.
I mean, best case, it lifts the table up.
Oh, I hope
right?
so. But
That
we'll
is
see.
best case.
But we have to
yeah.
scale so we know how much at least it's lifting if it picks the table up.
Yeah, at least we have some kind of reference of what it's pulling upward. Everything's attached, so I think we might be ready to do this.
All right. Give it a shot.
Ooh,
But nothing breaks.
Well, something's gonna break.
Yeah, something's gonna break at some point.
Something will break. I hope it's not any of this stuff.
I gotta get a little distance from it.
Let's do it. You're at 1,000.
It's gone around all the way at once.
Yeah.
The table just picked up.
You're lifting the table.
Good start.
So
Hey, that's really good.
give it
'Cause
all.
that means that
Didn't do anything. I didn't hear
Now
it.
you gotta do some wind equations again and figure out what's. So we won't even know. So when we get to 1,500 there?
yeah, I wanted it to break.
We gotta go on shear to find out what's gonna break. We can take this setup, maybe, and put it over here on the shear. The heaviest thing I got is the shear. It's right here. It pulls into the floor.
Well, we got to recalibrate this test. We got to about 1,500 pounds of force there, and the table started lifting off the floor. So we need to strap this to something heavier.
I feel like that's best case scenario though. I mean, that means good things for our panels, but I want to break this. Whew. All right, let's move it.
Tear it apart 2.0.
We are attached to the shear now, which is very heavy and bolted to the floor. So you would think that's going to fail before it lifts the shear. I don't think the truck could do that, could it? I don't know. We'll see. I think we'll be able to get it this time.
Went over 2. Then stopped. It got stuck.
Oh, we did rip it off though.
It came off the end. Bent that tube though.
It stayed on the aluminum, which was our biggest concern.
The whole thing didn't pop off. It just pulled it off the one end and actually bent the aluminum.
Yeah, this whole bar is bent.
Yeah. And this
So-
is how, this is actually kind of nice because this is how the force would have to do all of that the whole way to have a catastrophic failure.
Peel it all the way
They
up.
have to peel all the way back. So even if it started failing, the likelihood of it just, it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah, and it didn't pull the laminate apart.
It actually,
I mean, I would have thought that this layer would have came off of this layer first, that the fiberglassy whatever outside would have peeled off or cracked, but it didn't. It didn't even damage it at all. The glue is actually what failed.
my biggest
Or the
concern
bond
was
between
the
the
bond to the aluminum would fail. Because that was our biggest concern, not priming the aluminum, and it didn't. It failed on the FRP first, which is actually encouraging.
But I mean, what did we get to?
So what was it at?
1500.
It went around one, so it went around the second time. It was over.
And the scale just got stuck.
And the scale just got stuck.
'Cause I think on the bench,
It's
when it
stuck.
started lifting, we were at 15, I thought I saw. I think one thing you gotta realize, like, okay, if this starts to fail from wind force, which is what we're talking about, we're not getting enough wind force to bend this aluminum bar backwards.
No, your solar panel will break into pieces before then.
Right, or the bracket holding the panel on is going to fail
Right.
before that. So
Yeah, the brackets for the solar panels will fail.
I'm
before
feeling pretty good about the
I think you're
the
probably
bond. All right, so we're going to see if we can just connect to this side and rip that back now, since we're already set up. Might not be able to because the fork can only get so close, but we'll see. He bent the bar. Man, so we don't even know the scale froze up, huh?
I think so.
Started cracking the laminate from the backside.
Did it?
Yeah. Yeah, it just gets stuck at 1250 or whatever.
Oh yeah, it started to delaminate it for sure. Took some of the fiberglass up.
But look at the aluminum bond is good. That's what I was worried about.
Post-game report.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Anytime you get to destroy stuff is fun.
Ultimately, one side failed before the other. The scale seemed to freeze up right around 1300, so we don't know exactly. Our best guess is approximating the speed at which the needle was moving before that. I would guess between 1500 and 2000, but
Yeah. It's, you got at least 13 anyway. So.
There was quite a lot of pull after it stopped. You can see in the video that it kind of gets stuck at that like 3 o'clock position, and the pulling is still happening. Even with those numbers, we are way beyond anything that we should see on the roof of that vehicle, because the solar panels will rip themselves apart before any of this was failing according to what we just tested. But what you can see is actually unexpected for us, because with our steps, the adhesive came off of the aluminum, so we expected that that was the bond that would fail, but the adhesive actually stayed on the aluminum and came off of the composite panel.
that's it's really encouraging because the main concern was it might come off of the aluminum first. Not at all. We can see over here it actually started delaminating the back side. You can see the foam here is pulling off of that side of the panel. So it was so much force it was ripping it from there.
The only place it really pulled off of was the center. I actually expected this to just split and rip up first thing. I thought that was the weakest, and it did end up failing, but it took way more pulling than I thought it was going to take.
I think the non-scientific conclusion is the panels and the adhesive are very strong. There's 4 of these for every panel, mind you, as well as a couple little side pieces. I think if you did see failing, it's going to be from a lot of time of weathering, from hot, cold, maybe, I don't know. And also, it seems likely that it's going to slowly happen, as this did with a ton of force on it. It was still slowly peeling back. Who knows?
Yeah, it's not all going to fail at one time. And if you were having an issue, you would be able to see it before a whole panel of your roof went flying away.
Yeah, this failed here, and this still had a strong enough bond to make the aluminum bend before that adhesive failed. That tells me enough about the strength.
I'll be honest, this experiment made me feel so much better. As we said in the other video, it does not feel good to doubt what you put on the roof. So this made me feel a lot better rather than just hypotheticals. It's now real world right in front of us. This is not a lab, so it's not the most scientific, perfect test, but we set it up as close as we could, and this is really encouraging. I feel a lot better about our roof rack now, and this was so much fun.
True.
It was. It's a bummer the scale froze up on us.
I know.
I don't know what to tell you. It's old.
We are going to come up with a plan for how we are going to edit our roof rack. Likely, because this was such an encouraging experiment, we're going to do less invasive, minimal things to the roof rack. I think maybe a wind diverter is a good idea, but we're definitely not going to redo it. I think we're good.
They bent the aluminum. I mean,
I know.
That's a lot.
That's wild. What are we going to bend up next? Let's go again.
Oh, no.
quick update to the temporary step bracket that failed, as you might have seen. I was standing on the step and it just sheared right off. And we're gonna have to figure out a solution.
I mean, we both had some doubts about how well this was gonna hold up.
The adhesive, not a lot of surface area, so that's probably the biggest problem. We went ahead and made this bracket today, and this can bolt on to the subframe. This is still probably our temporary setup, but we do need something that's gonna work because we're gonna do a shakedown out west for a couple months, and we definitely want stairs getting in and out and not dragging a ladder around.
We are now going with good old-fashioned bolts, fasteners, hardware. No more of that fancy stuff. We're getting back to the basics. We got a piece of angle here, steel angle. We're gonna bolt it over here. We're gonna bolt it on this end as well as on the bottom. So it shouldn't go anywhere after this. It should be super solid. And then next summer, we are gonna build that pull-out porch, kind of a more elaborate setup that we're just not prepared to do right now. So that'll be for next summer, and this will get us through until then.
Yep. I just look at this and remember, first thing first is we should just put the bracket on here while it's out here.
Yes,
so we can
that
get
is
behind it
first.
with the wrench.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm gonna go do that. Temporary step, take two.
many pounds it takes to rip this thing off the panel.
How many licks does it take to get this
I was thinking the same thing.
Two licks.
Hopefully not.
One.
Just
Two. Three.
two. Three.
Go to 3.
Three.